Good morning, students. In this video, I shall discuss the different modes of nutrients which are performed by different organisms. Of course, there are millions and millions of organisms in the earth, and they perform different modes of nutrition. Their modes or methods of nutrition are no doubt different, but we shall we shall not study each and every process of nutrition of each and every individual species of organism. So that is why the modes of nutrition are basically divided into two categories. The first one, the mode of nutrition in which the organisms prepare their own food material. That is called autotrophic mode of nutrition. And this mode of nutrition is actually performed by the green plant. So that is why this is called auto means self, trop means food. They can prepare their own food material. Now, this autotrophic mode of nutrition again of two types on the basis of the source of energy. When the source of energy is light, then it is called photoautotrophic mode of nutrition. And normally this photoautotrophic mode of nutrition where the source of energy is nothing but the sunlight. So this is called the photoautotrophic mode of nutrition. And this mode of nutrition is performed by green plant because they have the chlorophyll pigment in their body. That is why they normally trap the solar energy by the chlorophyll pigment, and next processes occur there inside the chloroplast. So that is why these green plants are also called the photoautotrophs, and the mode of nutrition that is called photosynthesis. It is a biochemical process by which the carbon dioxide, the water, the sunlight, the chlorophyll, they help to form the glucose molecule, that is the simplest carbohydrate or simplest monosaccharide. Then these are normally combined together to form the complex carbohydrate like starch, cellulose, etc. Now, another autotrophic mode of nutrition that is called chemoautotrophic mode of nutrition. And in this process, normally some organisms or lower organisms or simpler organisms like bacteria, they normally synthesize their own food material by using some chemical energy, or the source of energy is the chemical reaction. There are some exothermic reactions. During this exothermic reaction, normally some energy is released during this chemical reaction. So that is why this energy, which is normally produced from the chemical reaction, this energy is utilized here for the formation of their food material. So that is why this is called chemoautotrophic mode of nutrition, and these organisms are called chemoautotrophs, but this is limited to the lower bacteria like the sulfur bacteria only, not for the higher plants. Now, the animals which do not have the chlorophyll pigment in their body, that is why they cannot synthesize their own food material. That is why they depend upon other organisms for their food. So that is why the mode of nutrition by which the organisms they derive their food from other organisms, then that is called heterotrophic mode of nutrition. And this heterotrophic mode of nutrition is normally performed by the animals, and the animals normally they perform different types of heterotrophic nutrition. Some organisms they perform the parasitic mode of nutrition. Then what is this parasitic mode of nutrition? When one organism derive its food from other living organisms. So suppose it is one organism, but it derived from other organism or other animal, you can say. But how? By living in or on the body. That means when sometimes it is endoparasite, then it lives inside the body of the other organism like your plasmodium, like your ascaris, which remain inside our body and they derive their food from us. So that is why these are called the endoparasites. and sometimes the lice, stick, the leech, they normally attach to the outer body surface and they derive their food from them. So these are called the ectoparasites. So either from outside or from inside, then they derive their food from them. That is called the parasitic mode of nutrition. And the organism which derives its food, that is called the parasite, and from which it derives the food, it is called the host organism. So in case of Ascaris, the Ascaris is the parasite and the human being, it is the host. So that is why Ascaris and man, this is a relationship, the host-parasite relationship. So here the man is the host and Ascar is the parasite, and their mode of nutrition is called the parasitic mode of nutrition. Now another important heterotrophic mode of nutrition, that is called saprotrophic mode of nutrition. And here in this saprotrophic mode of nutrition, what happens? Normally the animals particularly, or the organisms you can say, they derive their food from dead and decaying organisms. Dead and decaying organisms. So dead and decaying organisms, either they are dead plants or they are dead animals, and when they derive their food from dead plants and animals, after dissolving them or after decomposing them or after simplifying them, they derive their food. So most common examples are the bacteria and fungus. They grow in these dead materials and they dissolve the dead materials or they digest the dead materials outside, and after the digestion they normally absorb them into their body. So this mode of nutrition is called saprotrophic mode of nutrition. And these organisms like bacteria and fungus, these are called saprotrophs, or commonly they are also called the decomposers, because they break the dead complex material into simpler form or simplified form, and then they absorb them into their body. Now, the third and the most important mode of heterotrophic nutrition, or the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, that is called holozoic mode of nutrition. As we have already discussed in the terminology video, that this holozoic mode of nutrition, it is a complex mode of nutrition, and normally the organisms, or particularly the animals, they take the complex and insoluble food materials. Complex food materials are normally insoluble in nature. So that is why they take the complex and insoluble food material from the external environment, from the outer environment, into their body. And if they are complex and insoluble, so that is why they cannot be utilized unless and otherwise they will be converted into simpler form and soluble form. If they will not be simplified and if they will not be soluble, then they will not be absorbed and utilized by the organism. So that is why there are some important process or steps which are normally occurs in the body or inside the body of the organism to simplify them or to make them soluble inside our body. So that is why for this process our body needs some system, and this system, it is called the digestive system or nutrition system. And this digestive system, which is normally present in the body of these animals which perform their mode of nutrition as the holozoic mode. So that is why their system is also very much complex. In case of human being, the system which starts from the vocal cavity or the oral opening, that is mouth, till the anus. So there is the stomach, there is the small intestine, there is the large intestine. So this system is essential for simplify the complex food materials. Now, here, what are the different steps which are involved in the process of simplification of complex and insoluble food materials. As we have already discussed this terminology, no need to describe the definitions here, but ingestion means intake of food materials from outside into our body. Normally, the part of the digestive system through which we take the food material or we take the food from the outside, that is the oral opening. This is the oral opening, or it is called the mouth opening, and after that this food is normally broken down into simpler form and finally it is absorbed and utilized. So that is why depending upon the type of mouth part and depending upon the type of food, their mode of ingestion, their mode of ingestions are different. Their modes of ingestions are different. For example, if we are taking the liquid food, then the mode of ingestion is different. If we shall take some solid food, it may be your fruit or it may be your vegetable or it may be your sugar cane. So the modes of ingestion are different, and sometimes in case of amoeba, that is the phagocytosis method, but the intake of food must be there and the complex food enters into the digestive system. And after that, the second important process, and which is the most important process, that is the digestion. In this process, what happens? The breaking down of complex and insoluble food materials into simpler and soluble form. But how they actually converted into simpler and soluble form? So when it is complex, normally it is a larger one, and this larger food must be converted into smaller food. And here, in case of human being, the larger food are normally grinded into smaller food with the help of the teeth. So here, teeth act as the grinder and it grinds the food into simpler particles. This is the physical breakdown. But actually, the breakdown of the food also occurs chemically, because suppose it is a carbohydrate or complex carbohydrate, suppose starch. Now starch is converted into sugar. Now the starch cannot be converted physically into sugar, but here some enzymes are involved. So that is why these enzymes, they break them chemically into sugar. So that is called chemical breakdown, not only physical breakdown. So this process of breaking down of complex and insoluble food materials into simpler and soluble form with the help of enzymes in the digestive system of our body, it is called your digestion. It is the most important phase or step in case of hologenetic nutrition. After that, the third one, after the simplified or after it is broken down into simpler form and when it becomes soluble in water, then this simplified and the soluble, the simpler and soluble food materials, now it is passed into the blood circulation through the wall of the alimentary canal. And this process is called absorption. And when it absorbs into the blood, then the next phase, that is the assimilation. Assimilation means what? It normally transports into each and every part of the body. So that is why this process of distribution, and after the distribution of this digested food materials, they are normally utilized for different purposes. Suppose it is carbohydrate and fat which are utilized for the release of energy. It is the source of energy, so that is why they are called energy giving food. So that is why it is source of energy. Then sometimes when it is the proteinaceous food or protein food, then it converts into amino acid. So this amino acid normally helps in the growth of the organism, or it is called body building food. Now the minerals, the vitamins, they are called the protective food. So these are utilized for these different purposes. For example, for energy releasing, for growth, or for protection, and for biosynthesis of so many other materials inside our body. Now after that, whatever food material which we normally take into our body, they are not completely digested, but part of the food material remain undigested. So that is why these undigested food materials are normally removed from the body and removed from the body. So that is why the process of removal of undigested food material from the body of the organism is called egestion, and it normally occurs through the anus, or it is called anal opening or anal aperture. And the material which are normally discharged to the outside, these are called egesta. So the egesta are also commonly called the stool which normally removed from our body, and they are not the product of our body, but they are only the undigested material. Now the excreta, which are actually the metabolic waste products which are produced by our body, that is why excretion is the removal of the metabolic waste, but egestion, it is the removal of the undigested food material from the body. So these are the different modes of normally nutrition occurs in the different groups of animals, and also in the autotrophic, that is in case of plants. So that is why these are the basic type of modes of nutrition occurs in the different groups of organisms. I hope this video will be useful for you, and if it is really useful for you, then please like it and subscribe for further videos. Thank you. Thank you very much.